Hello and welcome everybody to the latest episode of Cook and Liberty, where it's a show about cooking, as you can see from the sign, and talk about liberty with a guest from the Liberty Movement. Today with me I have Leyla Taghiyeva, who is a TikTok associate at Students for Liberty.
Hello everyone.
Well, thank you for joining me, Leyla. It's fun, it's so fun at the same time because you are from Azerbaijan and I'm from Macedonia and we are here in Lisbon, and it's like, at least for me, it's a fun thing to start these things. So before we continue with the talking part of the show, for those that know, I sort of tell you what we're gonna get cooking, and because Leyla had no problems with any sort of dish that I would make, we went with risotto, and it's gonna be sort of my style of risotto with some extra shrooms and bacon strips and crushed bacon strips, sort of, and yeah. But before we get into the cooking, as I've said, Leyla is the TikTok associate at Students for Liberty. So can you tell us a little bit more about what that means in essence? How do you spread the word with TikTok in these modern times with Students for Liberty?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, it's a very special situation that we have right now. So we're actually here for LibertyCon Europe, which is the biggest liberty gathering for young people in Europe. And as a TikTok associate / content creator for Students for Liberty, basically what I do is create content and try to spread liberty through modern ways of approaching people. And we know that the most modern way of approaching people today is TikTok. I don't know what's your opinion on that, but yeah, basically we're trying to kind of adapt the trends and what's happening to our way of communicating to students and young people.
See, as you said, I'm a bit older. I don't do TikTok. only when people send shorts or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna watch, but other than that, as I've said, we are here for LibertyCon. But like, what actually is as Students for Liberty? What does technically it means for people that don't know?
Yeah, okay, so in a short and brief way, Students for Liberty is world's largest pro-liberty student organization, and our mission is to educate, develop, and empower the next generation of leaders. And what it means that basically beyond acting like a network of connecting the like-minded people who just want something better in their communities and who are fighting for a freer society, we're also trying to give them the best opportunities in terms of their self-development, career approaches, and as someone who has definitely developed after like being involved with Students for Liberty, I can say much more about it. Yeah.
See, for those that don't know, besides Students for Liberty, Leyla is sort of the next big pop star coming out from Azerbaijan. At least that's what I've been told. I don't know about you guys. She was, if I'm not mistaken, a semi-finalist in Azerbaijan Got Talent. Am I right here?
Central Asia's Got Talent. So it's more than Azerbaijan
I was close. Can you sort of tell us a bit about your singing career, sort of? But before that, see, I almost forgot. Leyla told me that she was more of a red wine girl, and always at some place in the world it's a wine hour. So
not here, not here though.
You don't have to know that, guys. Come on. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the next pop star coming from Azerbaijan.
Okay, you put too much expectation on me right now, but basically what I do besides everything I do is sing, write music, and I've been participating in The Voice Azerbaijan, Talk and People Turn, again for people who might not know, and then also Central Asia's Got Talent, which is the British Got Talent's regional version, and I do ventriloquism as well. Yeah, and I kind of went viral in my country for this. When I was coming to Lisbon yesterday in the passport control, the guy was like, "Do I know you from anywhere?" I'm like, "Does that mean you will let me go?" And then yeah. So you're privileged to have me.
See, I know, and this is a very fun story, and it's a true story because my nephew, who is 13, I was scrolling on Instagram, and all of a sudden he's like, I know that girl, and all of a sudden he started explaining to me who Leyla was and everything, and when I said that I had met him, because I did not know at the time that she was a ventriloquist, all of a sudden I sort of found out that I have met sort of a popular person, and my nephew to this day does not sort of believe me, even though I sent him showed him a message, which means that now you gotta believe that, Maxim. So yeah, shout out to you, my young nephew who does not believe in stuff. But so what brought you to ventriloquism, let's say?
Okay, I was bored in quarantine.
That's simple?
Yeah, that's simple. Like, no, actually, so I am a huge fan of just scrolling through what's going on in the world, and I have multiple interests. So it's politics, it's singing, it's music, and I do come across interesting talents, and I do try to like apply them to myself. Sometimes it works, and when it works, great things happen. So yeah, that's how I made the pandemic fun, at least for me, and for some people in Azerbaijan. So
see, I don't know how people made the pandemic fun. It was not fun at all. I mean, kudos to you. You found a way. I did not. Oh man, the pandemic.
Oh. Do we really have to go there?
No, definitely run. But like coming back to the music question, I sort of am interested because, as you can see here, I'm more of a heavy metal guy. I don't listen and I don't follow what's going on. So what would be, let's say, your favorite? I was gonna say band. Usually that's heavy metal stuff, but like with you, I'm gonna say singer, performer.
Okay.
I'm gonna shoot with Taylor Swift because that's how far I can go.
Okay, that's a little stereotypic, but I would say that I like the old pop music more, and especially the ballads. Let's say that if I would have to choose one name, I would definitely choose Christina Aguilera. I'm sure everyone knows her, even the guy who speaks in band language.
I do.
and I actually got to meet her, so this is a flex, and I have to talk about this everywhere. So I got to meet her when she came to Baku, not to see me, but like we still met.
Lie to us, they don't have to know. Come on.
I'm an honest person, so.
Honesty is an overrated virtue. At least that's what I've heard people saying. Christina Aguilera, you mentioned?
Yeah.
And how is she like in your life?
She's very humble, and like I'm promoting her here, but like yeah, go check her music out, like, and mine as well. But like yeah, it's. I mean, I still remember that day, like because I had to actually go through this competition to be able to meet her in the backstage, and. Yeah, I mean, it basically gave me inspiration, like you can even meet your idol at the age of 17 if you really want it, so.
That's great, that's definitely something that, you know, usually people say don't meet your heroes, but in your case...
Do meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coming back to Students for Liberty, and besides, you know, being the TikTok associate, you are the national coordinator for Azerbaijan, right?
Yes.
And how would you say doing stuff in Azerbaijan is different or the same compared to Europe? Because after all, we are in Europe right now, and for Europeans, it's a totally different world, I would say.
So actually, ESFL Azerbaijan is a part of European SFL, but I see what you mean. So the things I do as a TikTok associate at Students for Liberty in North America is mostly based on content creation, and that means like literally creating content every day. Because I mean now I am obsessed, and at this point like I see a shelf and I'm like, okay, this could be a meme. I'm serious. so it is how it is different. But like for Azerbaijan, as the national coordinator, what I do is completely different. I have my team where like a little more than 1 year old, And so it's the combination of local coordinators, and I was a local coordinator when I first joined Students for Liberty like 2 years ago. And we basically try to promote the cause of liberty in our region by organizing events, by online sessions, meetups, and it's getting some popularity, I would say.
Would you say that the issues that people in Europe face are similar or different than those in Azerbaijan? Coming back to the liberty point.
So I guess I would say that it's, to some extent, it's the same everywhere in the world, because I don't think we have one society that we can just point our finger at and say, okay, like they're the most free, you know? Because nowadays, with everything that has been going on since the pandemic and even before that, I mean, the state of affairs in the world right now, and unfortunately we don't have an idol in this case. So I would say there are some similarities.
Sorry, I sort of tried the wine before you were doing a proper cheer, so I'm sorry again.
No worries.
Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna blame the pressure here. I'm in the midst of the next pop star of Azerbaijan, so, and I don't even know why I'm using the next here. But like, and I'm not gonna. So, SFL has an official point, official stand on war, and that's like, and I'm technically speaking in Students for Liberty's name, but like it's anti-war organization. That's first and foremost. So, and I'm not gonna ask the question here about Ukraine or what. But like, since you come from the sort of music side, why don't we see why would you say that we don't see anti-war music happening today, similar to what happened, I don't know, with the hippies in the 60s and 70s? Even with the punk rock era post to 9/11 and the war that came afterwards.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong? And again, being not in pop, not pop music, just missing the trend.
I see your point. I mean, it is happening, but definitely not as before. I mean, and I think I kind of know the reason. Nowadays, people take everything political, let's say, even if it's like a pro-peace or anti-war song, they just find the tendency to attach it to some sensitivities, you know? So maybe that's why they're not promoted as before. I don't think they're not created, but they're not promoted enough as before, and that's why they don't get to us, you know? We don't get to listen to them.
Yeah.
And I can speak from my own perspective as well. So I wrote a song called 8 Billion People, and I was inspired to write this song about a refugee from Ukraine that I met actually last year during LibertyCon Europe. And her story just like touched me really much because she basically had to run from the war in the beginning of when it was happening. And so I wrote this song and I submitted to European Union, and they selected this as the official campaign song, let's say. And I got to sing it in different places. So, however, there were some cases in which I was told that you cannot perform this song because it's too political. And I was like, it's anti-war. How can it hurt anyone, you know? So, and that's when I realized that, okay, maybe that is why actually people are not really going forward with this, like applying arts and music to influencing people for being more pro-peace, let's say.
I know that a lot of things, as you say, art-wise was happening around Europe, especially when the war started. Maybe some part of it is people are sort of tired because it has been a lot of time. I don't know, that's why I'm even asking, but cool, definitely. But with your song that you mentioned, I sort of wanted to ask you about the 8 billion people. But so you mentioned this, but like, can you tell us a bit more about the 8 billion people contest and everything?
Yeah, so actually it was not a contest. I'm a young European ambassador in Azerbaijan, again, besides everything else that I
Besides
do.
everything.
And so they selected a few people from all around the world, and I was kind of like the only person from Europe, I guess, somehow. So
The only person from Europe?
yeah.
Coming from Azerbaijan?
Yeah. Like they selected a bunch of influencers, and then they were like, okay, guys, let's promote the campaign with some ideas, with some. It could be a speech, it could be anything, and I was like, maybe it's a bit too much, but I actually wrote a song about being anti-war, and especially influenced by what's happening in Ukraine, and. They liked the idea. I submitted the song. It went through some bureaucracy, of course, and then of course.
I mean, it's Europe, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, European Union. It gotta be a bureaucracy.
Yeah, but it ended up well, and they selected the song, and basically the song is about ghost stream. No, but like basically the song is about calling people for peace, but it's like a personal approach because when I wrote this song, I just basically put whatever was on my mind on the table. And I met the girl who inspired me to write this song in a very weird situation. So I was traveling solo for the first time, coming to Libertarianism Europe, and I was stuck in an elevator, like with my luggage and everything. And
Sorry for laughing.
yeah, no, and I have claustrophobia, so it's not funny.
I'm sorry.
No, and then I was obviously panicking, and I was shouting for help in all the languages that I know, so that maybe someone hears help in their native language, they will come and help. But no one was hearing me, as poetic as it sounds. And then it's been like 30 minutes or something, and I didn't have internet, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna die here. And then I heard some noises, and I found out that it's actually the sound system of the elevator that is like just blocking all forms of communication in between. And I heard like very, very far away voice from someone saying that, oh, I'm here, I got you, I called the office, they're coming to help, but I will stay with you until they come. And basically, like you could see this in the movies, right? She's like trying to comfort me, give me a psychological session from that, far away. And I found out that she was from Ukraine, and she was actually staying in the dorm and working there because she lost her house. And I was like, I'm here complaining about like being stuck in an elevator. Like, what am I doing with my life? And I was like, I completely forgot about the fact. So I was just like at this point chilling on my luggage, and she was like, and I didn't even get to see her, obviously, before they came and fixed the problem. But we spoke for like straight 20 minutes, and she told me how she was writing a book about everything she's been through. It was like a movie. So I was definitely touched by that. What's happening in Ukraine, I mean, I don't even want to talk about it for the sake of like not ruining the show. But basically it touched me, and I came up with the 8 billion song.
Does that friend of yours now has the book published?
I don't think so. It's not published yet, but I did try to connect her with some publishers from Azerbaijan after the song came out. So I was like, talk about influencing. but I will let you and everyone, hopefully, who's watching this know when it's out, because I would really like to contribute.
See, once it is out, you will find it in the show notes page. What's the name of the writer you spoke of? Or?
Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will have the Victoria's book. But since you again mentioning influencing and stuff, and me being old here, what's the life of an influencer?
The best part.
Do you get up at 4 o'clock and do like I don't know? No? How does influencing work?
4 a.m.
I don't know.
That's for people who work from 9 to 5, not the influencers. But yeah, basically, the best part is that you can go to places, and I'm not saying everyone knows you there, because I'm not the most famous person yet. Yet.
That is the key.
But you can basically go to places and expect a good treatment, you know, let's say. And but honestly, the kind of influencing that I'm doing is not the one that gets you the most benefits. Like for example, right now what is trendy is if you're a woman, you do makeup stuff. If you're a man, you encourage people to go to the gym and, you know, just go and get it. You
What
know?
do you have against the gym?
No, I don't have everything. I'm just saying it seems to be the only thing they do.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, but
Especially not about gym stuff.
yeah, because you're a cook, right?
I mean, cooking is not the problem. The eating part is, but.
But yeah, so but what I do in terms of influencing is more like influencing people to work on themselves, work for a better society, better world. And that's how I actually got those people recruited for my team in Students for Liberty. That's how I get people to travel to countries and learn and expand their kind of like horizons and see things differently. So like the things that I was influenced by a few years ago, I'm trying to influence people to do them now. So that's kind of the influencing that I do.
That's great. See, I sort of have said this because I have said this to my friends regarding this show. It is in a very amateur style at this point, and sometimes I talk with professors and people that will mention a book, and even if one person goes after watching this show and sort of gets interested and wanna go like, oh, the Cicero guy sounded very, very fun when I heard it, and goes to read that, and does not necessarily become a libertarian, but sort of influences his life in a better way. I would say my job is sort of done in a sense. So from what I understand, Azerbaijan is more of a socially conservative country, if I'm not mistaken, and you are living a very new life in a sense, something that is with so many foreigners outside of, let's say, the inner circle. So how is life viewed by other Azerbaijani when you talk about all the stuff that you see and meet outside? How do they feel about this, coming again from a more conservative spectrum?
Yeah, it's definitely not something conventional that I do, especially because of the fact that I basically, as I said before, like combine multiple interests of mine into a lifestyle. I face social pressures a lot, especially when, as I said, my videos were going viral. It did teach me a lot of things, like how to just ignore the haters and stuff, so I appreciate that. But it definitely made me think, like, why are people so, like, not okay with just new things happening, and with people who just can do a lot of things at the same time, because they expect you to be a certain way, and I'm not that, like, I've never been that. So
what's the best hate mail you've gotten?
oh.
Usually those are fun. I remember that in Britain, if I'm not mistaken, in AGT, there was a girl who sort of
Came
had...
up with a song
for
the hate song.
Yeah, the hate song.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So come on, what's the best hate you've got?
I don't know, people attacked on different fronts. Like some of them were like talking about I don't know, like it happened a little time ago, like 2 years ago, but I definitely had my family intervene, and I was like, guys, you guys are acting so amateur, but it was because it was happening for the first time. And I saw my dad like with a fake profile, like commenting on people like, what do you want from this girl? And I'm like, oh my god, like I know it is you, Dad. Is like, no, like it's not me. But yeah, so it was definitely something that nobody in my circle had experienced before. But the thing is, I turned it into an advantage. So people were like, oh, she's doing weird stuff, like she's doing ventriloquism. Like, of course, they don't even know what is ventriloquism, but besides from that, I managed to kind of like change that hate into an interest and then into a kind of admiration, because I really like saw it happening. Because as I started posting more about what I do And like I do things besides the music, I do things besides ventriloquism. I posted about traveling, I posted about SFL, and people started to be like, wow, like maybe she's doing it the right way, you know, because we don't really see this kind of lifestyle happening to people in socially conservative societies. Basically, the idea is in Azerbaijan, just like finish school, get like tertiary education, and then you get like maybe masters, then you get married and have a stable 9-to-5 job, and that's kind of like the way you go until you're dead. And
I know, same thing.
you would understand. So, and I was like, no. So that's how I got here. So by saying no to that stuff. So
that is alright, definitely alright.
We can't say what is right, but it is what's right for me, let's say.
I wanted to say alright, but my English sort of failed on me. That has been alright. I'm sorry, Leyla. But coming back to Students for Liberty and LibertyCon, how would you say, how do you convince people over the libertarian message from the Students for Liberty perspective?
Okay, so as I work in terms of, as I work for the marketing side of things, I'm probably a good person to ask this question. I do come across people misunderstanding our cause and what we do. And basically, the way we try to convince people, and I'm saying convince, not coerce, because that's what people sometimes understand when you're like, I'm working for like an NGO, an international
I thought that
NGO.
was implied. We don't coerce people. It's very libertarian of us not to coerce.
Yeah, but we try to convince, and how we try to convince is basically by engaging in an open discussion and open discourse, by letting both sides talk, and by letting people just present their facts and arguments rather than their like emotional standing or referring to how things has always been, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the approach we take, being just open and being understanding. And that's what I like about classical liberalism in general, actually, because I come from an international relations background, and in university we were taught like hundreds of isms.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about all kinds of different philosophies, but like classical liberalism is different in a sense that you basically are advocating for freedom in all aspects of life, not just one, and you're basically holding the value that matters most in this world, at least for us, let's say. So you're kind of trying to understand both sides, you're trying to empathize with all segments of the society. So that's usually how I present the cause of liberty to a person who doesn't know anything about this.
Why do you think that? Because for me, liberty is one of the core, not core, the most important political value, not personal, but most important political value. Then my question is, and I really do not have an answer for this, I cannot answer this to myself, but why people don't accept, let's say, the freedom approach to life when it comes politically?
I think maybe people are afraid to take a step because when you have to risk something, like in terms of changing a particular thing about your life, you can lose or you can win, and it's always like 50-50. So choosing to be free, choosing freedom as the most important value, both politically and personally and socially, it means taking a risk, you know? It means rejecting something. So there's kind of like a negative approach that comes before a positive one comes, because if you don't stand against what's taking away your freedom, you can't really be open to new things that can actually enhance the life that you're living, if it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that means taking a risk, and that's why most people are just like trying to protect the status quo.
Yeah, it boils down to fear. And
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot say I'm fearless, of course, right?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, but like I still cannot accept this on a personal level. It bothers me that people sort of don't value the freedom, especially when you think about, especially when we talk about political freedom and we think of history and what humanity has gone through, and
Yeah.
I just don't know how people not strive for that political freedom, especially in a modern world when we can sort of do that, especially with technology liberating us, but you know.
But there is another thing as well. I don't know, maybe you've seen the speech of Yeonmi Park. She's the influencer who escaped from North Korea.
See, I was not gonna say the influencer, but I know her.
Yeah, okay. What would you say?
Just the refugee that escaped Korea. But
Okay, I'm talking the influencer language.
I would not have used that term, definitely.
So, yeah, but what my point is that if you saw her speech in the TED Talk, basically she was actually answering your question, like why some people just don't value freedom, or if it is the case, most probably it's because they haven't been exposed to the unfree, you know?
Yep.
So you basically have to see through whatever you have to be able to actually advocate for freedom. So some people don't have access to the technology you're talking about. Some people don't have access to the internet, or at least, you know, the open internet. So that's why you might expect some people just not even have a clue about what freedom is.
Would you say that the world is moving in a more positive freedom, let's say, way, or not?
This is, I need more wine. So, but yeah.
She's camera shy with the wine. I don't know why. I don't know.
So
Not a life of an influencer I
I
expected. Unlike you, Leyla, I'm not shy with the wine. So, cheers to you.
cheers. So I don't think I can say it's very positive right now. This because, as I said before, we don't really have an idol when it comes to a free society in the world today. But it used to be the case like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, at least from my standpoint. But I do think that if people just basically understand and get exposed to the ideas of liberty, because we are the future, or now at this point. I'm getting old as well, I guess. I can't say future anymore.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
But, yeah, but we can basically get together to advocate for our liberties throughout the world, however liberty may mean to you. By the way, this is also an important thing to discuss, because you can't just push people to say, why don't you become an entrepreneur? Because I see this trend going around. Everyone's like, become an entrepreneur, work for yourself. Like, someone has to work for someone, no? Everyone can't work for themselves. Like, you need to think, like, what is the liberty that I need? Is it the social one? Is it the political one? Like, it might be different for everyone, not even for every society. And you find that, and if everyone finds that liberty that they need and they start fighting for it, then maybe we can change things for the better. But unless we do that, unless we keep this status quo, you know.
See, this is what I love with SFL, for example, because SFL is a big tent organization in a sense, and this is me promoting Students for Liberty now, but like it's very close to my heart. I have always said that it's a big tent organization that we don't necessarily agree on what liberty means, but we agree on the general idea of liberty, and coming from personal liberty, individual rights, however you want to phrase it. And that's very, very beautiful, I think, with the Students for Liberty model of viewing liberty. Because when you think about it, we are so far away from the ideal, so I think that moving one step, at a time, just it's a step forward, because we are so far away from the ideal.
Exactly.
Can we have come to the last part of the show, where I would do the plating and ask the most important question of the show. But before that, because we are amongst a singer now, I'm gonna ask you to
do at least one chorus, sing something for us while I do the first plating part.
All right. Well, maybe we go from that 8 billion song that we just talked about.
Yes, of course.
My morning was okay. Okay.
I don't know. My
you
mom.
can join if you know the lyrics.
That's not the problem. Even my mom and my niece, they were while I do singing and doing the air guitar, they say something like, "Simon, please don't sing, please, just don't ruin the music." So I will not join you, unfortunately.
Okay, here we go. I can change the world all by myself, but if you give me your hand, I promise this is real. Make peace more than I dream, rebuilding everything. Let's become a team of 8 billion people. And I get a food for that.
Even without this awesome performance, you would have had the food, but now I will give you a bigger plate because
Yeah, because
that was Leyla, our next star coming from Azerbaijan that everybody will know and will make the sort of socially conservative Azerbaijan more open-minded. But before we go with our last part of the episode, so what we are doing is technically just plating the risotto, putting the already cut bacon that was earlier fried a lot, and on the other plate I'm gonna do the same thing with the shrooms instead of the bacon if you're a vegetarian, or you can just do the all-inclusive salmon style and put everything in it. That works as well. That's the better option. Sorry vegetarians. But without further ado, it's time for our last segment of the show, which would be how to find freedom in an unfree world.
Ooh, okay, that's deep. But how to find freedom in an unfree world? Okay, so we agree that the world is unfree right now. That's something we can agree on. And how to find freedom is, as I think we already discussed, you need to basically prioritize your whatever is more important to you. If it's the freedom, if it's the equality, if it's wealth, if it's health, I don't know. This is kind of like the decisions we make every day, right? But when it comes to making world a freer place, you need to figure out what kind of liberty do you need in your life and what kind of freedoms are you seeking to enhance. So once you decide that, I think that you should pursue that. If you're a student, you can also pursue that by joining Students for Liberty, and and you go from there. And as we discussed already, it's very individual, and that's what we're actually promoting here: the individual liberty, not something collective, not something your society tells you that has to seem important, So whenever you find what liberty is important to you, you go and you seek it. And with that, I urge everyone to follow Students for Liberty on social media platforms. As the TikTok associate at Students for Liberty, I make all the short content videos, so I would appreciate if you guys go check it out and put some likes.
Well, that was Leyla. What she wanted to say at last was listen to good music, which means follow Leyla. You can find her in the show notes page, but I know that you already follow her. She's a big star. Anyhow, with this, we finished this episode of Cook and Liberty. Again, thanks Leyla for joining me today. It has been a big pleasure of mine. And with this, stay safe, stay free, and until next time, have fun in life.